Okay, so let's just pretend for a moment that you didn't go to law school, which you may not have, and somebody sits down and says, "Hey, let's have a conversation about law," which is a super exciting thing, right? But for a lot of companies that are operating in the US, the people that are responsible for HR compliance or HR related matters within a company, most of those professionals are not attorneys. So, this is really for all of you or for anybody that's interested in learning more about how law is structured in the US. Typically, I would do like a whiteboard on this, but I'm going to walk through it verbally and then I'll probably have a follow up video where I actually draw all this out on a whiteboard so that it's a little bit easier to visually understand. But at a high level in the United States, there are federal laws and there are state laws, and then there are local laws. It's probably the easiest way to group the buckets of law. So when you have federal law, those laws almost always apply to every person that lives within the United States. It maybe goes without saying, but federal simply means that it's a law that's passed by the federal government and it applies to pretty much everybody that lives within the US. There are some exceptions to what I'm saying. Lawyers are always giving what are called caveats or yeah, but certain circumstances it may be different type of a deal. But at a high level or a very simple level, federal laws apply everywhere. Then you have state law, and those laws pretty much are isolated to people that live within that state. Again, there are some certain exceptions to that. But at a high level, if you live within the state boundaries of a state, those are the laws that apply within those boundaries. And then local is any and all laws that apply at like a county level or a city level. There are some other local level laws that are grouped together in terms of like a location. But again, trying to keep this very simple, you have county, city, or if you're in Louisiana, parish instead of county, and that's the geographic boundaries of laws. So when we look at the laws in the US, of which there are many, one of the things that gets really confusing really quickly is which law applies to my company or my business. And the short answer is federal laws are almost always going to apply. State laws are going to apply in the states that you have employees located in. And local laws will apply to your businesses or to your business, if you will, if you happen to be located in that particular location or locality, county, or city. Those laws are published by those different government groups, which we'll talk about in a moment. But that's the super, again, easy, simple, basic federal, state, local. And it really normally comes down to where you're located or where you have employees that are working. So that's the geographic structure as I mentioned before. Once we get beyond that sort of simple layout of like, hey, there are laws out there, there are rules that apply, and you get into more detailed stuff, it gets more complicated. So I'll talk about more on this later.